Can you put your finger on where you think the Big John phenomenon sort of started?
I didn't know I was on TikTok. Right, my middle son Henry, who's the genius with the camera,
He snuck you on.
He was putting me on TikTok. I had people coming up asking for photos. Why do you want a photo of me? So it happens for a lot of people. Is your Saturday night, you can finally relax. You've ordered your Chinese, and I think anyone can relate to that.
Do you ever get sick of people running up to you shouting Bosh?
No, never.
How often are you getting stopped?
Every 2 minutes.
Fuck it.
I'm George Groves, this is the George Groves Boxing Club. I'm with Deck as ever, but this is a special episode. It's our Seeing Stars episode. And who have we got? Big John. Big Johnny Fisher's in the club.
Well,
John,
thanks for inviting me. You must have run out of guests if you've had to invite me for your special episode.
Well,
so.
you had to carve some time out in your very busy schedule, John.
I don't like to talk about it.
No, what I want to know is, did you ever imagine that you'd be doing nightclub meet and greets and handing out prawn crackers to hundreds of adoring fans?
No, never. And even now, like, I'm going to Bristol after this and going to Butlins tomorrow. It still amazes me. I'm just a normal bloke. I am literally a normal bloke. I've worked hard all my life for like a little bit of gain, but a lot of heartbreak and a lot of stress as well. And to be doing this, you're still working. I said to George the other day, you're still working. People don't realise it's not as easy as it looks, but it's a lot less stressful and it's a lot easier way to work.
Mm. We had your son, of course, Johnny Fisher, the heavyweight. Now, he said, I won't tell you what he said, but we asked him the same question. Who's the most famous person in your family right now? That means him. just a hesitation.
Fame, I hate being called a YouTuber. I hate being called an influencer. I hate being called a TikToker. I hate being called an Instagrammer. But if you go on followers, yeah, I've got more. But Johnny's the one that it's all for. He's the one. George knows, as we said, every day you're getting your head punched in. People don't realise what that does to you, the dangers, the damage it does. He's the important one. And if I can pull any of my following to follow him, that's what it's all about.
Mm.
I think you do an incredible job. And you can see it's genuinely all for your son. And you're a family man anyway. Yeah. But with Johnny, you know, being a professional boxer and how hard it is at times, totally. You do a great job for him.
I remember during lockdown, we went out serving meat like to people's houses. Didn't have an online presence then. Johnny weren't a professional boxer. Without mentioning names, we used to serve a few professional boxers their meat. And we used to go round and, like, people don't realise a lot of boxers don't live in squalor, but they struggle. There's not a lot of money in a lot of boxing. And I always used to say to Johnny, I said, Johnny, if that's where you end up with boxing, it's not worth doing. And I'd say that to any boxer. You know, they're just pawns for the promoters to earn money, the television companies to earn money. And if what I do helps my son in any way, shape or form, then so be it. Because, as I say, George knows how hard boxing is, and top respect to anybody that boxes for a living. Top respect.
Speaking of for a living, so before this kicked off, am I right in thinking you were a cheese salesman?
Yeah, I still got the company.
Yeah.
Still, up until about 4 or 5 months ago, I used to still do it a couple of days a week. It's just got a bit too busy now. I can't physically do it. So I've got a main supplier, J.S. Bailey's been very good company to me. They work on my behalf and we sort of like do a little bit of commissions. And so I've kept my customers, kept my supplier, still got my van. If ever I need to go back to it, I can always go back to it at the blink of an eye. But as I say, it's been a good living for me. It's put a roof over my head, but a stressful living. You know, I've just been talking to someone else. High turnover, low margins, you know, and if you get a bad debt, which I've had a few over the years, it knocks you sideways. But I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I've never knocked anyone in my life. Just keep working. Sometimes for nothing, but you just keep doing what you believe in, you know. But the cheese is still there if we need to go back to it another day.
Do you ever had another job? Have you ever had a job?
I worked on a building site for a year, 17 to 18, and then little ad hoc jobs. Worked as an estate agent.
Did you?
Yeah. Didn't show anyone around any houses. But I used to, back in the day, you used to send out, if you sold a house on someone's road, you'd spam everyone on that road with a physical letter.
Yeah, so
and I used to do the licking and sticking in the office.
Putting it in.
So to print it off, lick it, stick it,
I
send it.
I think it's important, like George, obviously former world champion, for any youngster, I think it's important they get a little job, just to learn the value of money and what they have to do to earn it. Johnny used to work in our local restaurant selling ice creams out of a hut. Bearing in mind he used to watch cricket most of the time while he was in there, but you still have to get up physically and go and do it and earn peanuts. It's great that George has said what he's done there, you know. hard work never hurt anyone.
Johnny Fisher Jr. Obviously he's a big lad, heavyweight. How much cheese was he eating as he was growing up, mate?
Do you know what? My dad started the cheese firm all them years ago, God rest his soul. He never used to eat cheese. Johnny never eats cheese. I'm probably the only one that likes a bit of cheddar, but yeah, although you're in the cheese business, no one really... My wife eats a bit of cheese, but no one really likes it, so shouldn't say that. But
never get high on your own supply.
No, yeah, exactly.
Now, in these Seeing Stars episode, John, we always ask, what out of 10... what number would you describe yourself as a boxing fan? 1 being don't care for boxing, 10 being hardcore boxing fan. Where do you land?
See, like, I'm not going to disrespect the hardcore boxing fans out there because I love boxing. But if I'm being truthful, I'm more like the middleweights, super middleweights, cruisers, heavyweight type of fan. I've never been a big fan of the lighter weights, even though I respect what they do and obviously the good ones you'd watch. So I'd say about 7 or 8. Because I know there are some hardcore boxing fans out there that their knowledge is second to none. But I'm more of a middleweights to heavyweight sort of fan.
We can work with that, can't we?
Yeah, well, he's my man.
Yeah, exactly right. So let's throw it all the way back then. What are your earliest memories of boxing? Like, you remember watching it as a kid?
I used to box. I used to box myself for the Lion ABC. Did a bit of West Ham. Done a bit. of
the
Repton.
Lion Dalston one.
Yeah,
just
Lion,
up the road.
Yeah, Lion. Yeah, because obviously our family, we're from Stepney Green. We're like East End. My mum and dad moved out when I was about 4. But obviously you still got your roots back this way. I still got family live around there now. Went to the Lion with Charlie Magri and Roy McDonald. Lee McDonald, Zamo in Grange Hill. He was a good boxer. His dad was a great coach. And obviously Charlie, we was good friends with Charlie. And he said, come up there. Had a couple of fights there, amateur. But it was a bit of a tie because we lived in Romford. So you're doing your school work after school. You're having to get from Romford to Hackney and back every night. Although we did it, but then we ended up at West Ham. My first memories of boxing, like, obviously, that captivated you was like Mike Tyson. When you used to see him fighting. Obviously, like before that, Alaminta, people like that, homegrown. But just always been in and around boxing. Where your family's from the East End. Obviously the Tibbses, and it's also always been there. Always been in the background.
And Johnny, he was playing rugby, wasn't he, before?
He wasn't. That's a misconception. He was always a boxer.
Right.
He boxed from the age of 6. But George, where he was a big lad, couldn't get many bouts. So he had his first bout when he was 11, had a few when he was 15. Then he went into rugby at the 6th, when he started going sixth form and university. Broke his hand, so he couldn't box for a little while. And then when he was at university, he took that back up the boxing. He'd had 10 amateur fights before then, 8 or 9 amateur fights before then. Took up the boxing again when he was at university. Had a few first round knockouts, and then went and sparred Joe Joyce, ended up sparring him in Vegas, and then got the quarter-term professional. So he was always a boxer first, but he played rugby. Played his first game of rugby at a high level. Never played it before, but he's big and strong and a will to win. I think it suited him. Rugby's another sport we both love. And he would have been quite a good player at that, but so many injuries in rugby. He broke his shoulder, broke his hand, cut his head, cut his chin. At least in boxing, you know where it's coming from. Rugby is coming from all angles. But yeah, he was always a boxer first, but then had a little break when he broke his hand. Played rugby with a broken hand, funny enough, but he couldn't punch, if that makes sense.
Was that your doing then, taking Johnny down the boxing gym? Did you think this would be good for him? Me and my wife, we have got 3 sons, 1 daughter. My dad took me boxing, I loved it. My granddad was a professional boxer, so it's been in the family. I've taken all my sons to boxing, and my daughter. Johnny's the only one that truly loved it. You can't force anyone to box. You take them there, a bit of fitness, get them used to people from all different sides and walks of life. And Henry was pretty good as well, but he was good at football, so the football took over. And Johnny just loved it. So he kept going back, where William, he didn't love it. When people like it, they don't like it. Yeah. So Johnny always loved it, loved the physical side of it. When he was younger, when he was boxing, when he was a kid, and then the uni days, how did not right now, but how did you feel then watching him box? Was it enjoyable experience?
The uni days were unbelievable. Exeter Uni, got a lot of friends down there, and because he played rugby, a lot of big following. That's where his following started off. I mean, we went to a university boxing show. He sold 500 tickets. And it was crazy. And even now, to this day, I say that's the best atmosphere. You know, I mean, the last one was great, but it was just unbelievable. It took your breath away when you heard him singing him, and you didn't really know how he was going to do. He'd only had a few amateur fights, but he had 3 or 4 for the university. He won them all by first round knockout, and that's when he knew he had a bit of power. But he's always loved it, and he answered a call from Sam Jones, funny enough, for sparring partners for Joe Joyce. He said, "What should I do, Dad?" I said, "Well, give it a go." And he went. And he impressed. I asked him back, and then he got the call to go to Vegas to be his main sparring partner for one of his fights. So, and from there, it's just carried on.
No nerves then?
For me? Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I can imagine it's bad.
It's terrible. You know, I know how hard he trains. George knows this. The more you put into boxing training, the easier the fight is. But anything can happen on that day. You know, you might not be yourself. You might take a punch the wrong way. But I'm nervous. But I know how hard he's prepared. He wouldn't leave any stone unturned. So that gives me a confidence behind the nerves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but me and my wife, we go and sit in our seats. I don't want to see anybody, obviously our children, but I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to sit there, watch the fight, and then afterwards we can relax. Win, lose or draw. Boxing's a sport. You've got to be able to take losing. Do you know what I mean? It's how you take losing that makes you a better winner, I think. Thankfully, we haven't felt that yet. But it's a tough sport. You're not going to say you're not going to feel that. You know, and in boxing at the moment, it seems if you lose a fight, you're finished. It's not the case. George is testament to that. You know, if anything, losing a fight probably makes you that bit better.
Are you involved in the gym? Not necessarily as a trainer as such, but do you like to be in the gym and see what's going on?
I'll go and watch sparring. Like, he's had a lot of good spars with Fabio, good friends with Fabio Wardley. You'd pay to watch the sparring with him, with Joe Joyce. But that's as far as it goes. He's got his trainers. I'm not one of them dads that goes in and goes, "Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that." I'm at home. If Johnny needs to talk to me and he's got a concern, yeah, come and talk to me. But I'm not, people might think, "Oh, he's one of this, he's in the way." I'm not. It's just to help him sell his tickets, and I'll do that as best I can. But as far as management goes, training goes, nothing at all to do with me. When Johnny needs advice, come and talk to me as a dad. But if you need advice, like, you know, go and get people that are professional at it and know what they're doing, because I don't know what I'm doing. Too many people think they know what they're doing and they don't. So you've got your manager, you trust him, you've got your trainer. There's no better trainer than Mark and Jimmy Tibbs. You know, and don't get me wrong, nothing's always perfect, but you might have little concerns, but nothing's going to be perfect anywhere. That's life. You know, I've worked in business all my life. Nothing's a straight line. Always little dips and little dips. You say you get to that top that matters. But yeah, I stay well out of the way. And people probably don't believe that. They probably think I'm a interfering busybody, but you can ask Mark, you can ask Adam, S-Jam. I don't get involved at all, unless I'm asked.
Do you get nervous to watch the spars? Or is it really just exciting because the pressure's off?
Not really. I know the spar, you know, Johnny performs quite well, whoever he sparred against. I know he's in a good place when he's sparring. But yeah, you still get that, that little apprehension, because you know anything can happen in sparring.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he sparred Daniel Dubois Monday and he's sparring him again Friday. And he does a lot of sparring with Daniel Dubois, but not regularly, because he said you'll end up with something wrong with you because he tries to take your head off all the time. Daniel Dubois don't know any other way other than to take your head off. And it's good for Johnny to have that, but not all the time, because Johnny learns that to negate it, frustrate. It's showing him a different way to engage. But yeah, with Dubois, you know there's going to be sparks. But as I say, I watched Johnny when Joe Joyce was training for Parker. I've never seen Joe Joyce in as good a shape as that. And the sparring that I watched Johnny with Joe then was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That Tack came in there as well. He was in a good place. You'd pay good money to be in that gym to watch it, you know. But nowhere near nerves like fight night. Because fight night, everything's on the line. Everyone's looking at you. Got all them people there coming to support you. And it's a lot of pressure.
Are you able to enjoy fight night for Johnny?
I don't say I don't enjoy it, but it's not. I'm glad when it's over.
And now you're a face who people will pick out from the crowd. That must make it harder, yeah?
Yeah, because people listen. People want to come up. They want to be your friend, which is great. But at that moment, before one of Johnny's fights, second from Johnny's coming out of his ring walk, and I had like 2-3 men coming up. Oh, can we have photos? Can we have videos? And you don't want to be rude, but it's my son coming out for his ring walk, you know. But I still won't be rude. But people, on the whole, they know when to talk, when not to. You know, but you still get the people that ain't got a clue.
Let's stick on fight night for a sec. So let's go one involving Johnny and also not like a non-Johnny fight. what are your favourite fights that you've been live, like you've seen live? Because you've been at all the fight nights now, obviously all of Johnny's.
Yeah, Joe Joyce Parker, that was great.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because Tyson Fury and his dad were right in front of us. And Johnny obviously knows them very well. I've met them a couple of times. They're very, very friendly people to us. Tyson's always give Johnny so much advice. Nothing but respect for what Tyson's done. But they was in front of us with like Tyson's other brothers and that. And they was cheering on Parker. And I like Joseph Parker, top respect to the man. Talked to him on Instagram, a real good man. But on that night, Joe Joyce is our man. And they're getting up shouting, we're getting up shouting. And, you know, it got not heated between us two, but that was the best night because of the atmosphere. Not only what was going on in the ring, but because you had the Furies cheering for Parker and we was cheering for Joyce. So great win for Joe that night. Other than Johnny, that was, you know, I got nothing but respect for Joe Joyce. A terrific man. And that was a brilliant night.
Must be one of the best knockouts you've seen, that one as well. It was some finish.
It was a great fight, you know, because Parker was always in the fight. And Joe was, I told you, that's when Johnny was his main sparring partner in Vegas, and I knew Joe was in top shape. And he had to be, because if he wasn't, Parker would have beat him that night. What a fight, you know, both men giving it their all.
And Johnny's fight against Dirty Harry Armstrong, which was it just won the best fight of the year at the Southern Area Awards. Yeah,
Johnny's won the best fight of the year. He's won the boxing writers, young British boxer.
That's the big one.
It's unbelievable when you see the names that have won that. You know, we're sitting there, and even Johnny's as humble as they come. He's probably sometimes too humble. He's going, look, Dad, look at these names. I can't believe it. But that was a great fight because, again, I always speak openly and honestly. Big matchroom show, AJ show. I was really looking forward to like the Chisora fight, the Dempsey McKean-Ergovich fight, and then the AJ fight. And speaking as a fan, I thought Johnny and Harry Armstrong's fight was the best fight on that show. You know, no bias here as a dad, because it had, you know, all right, Johnny was always in control, but Harry was never out of it. You know what I mean? He was always like causing a threat. And in that fight, your big worry then is where Johnny's had a lot of 1-round knockouts, 2-round knockouts. Your big threat is he going to blow out? You know, is he going to run out of steam? But I knew what he was doing. After the first round, he looked like he was going to get him out of there. I knew he was calming it down. And I knew exactly what Johnny was thinking when he came out round 7. In your mind, 4 rounds left. Johnny said he was just going to go for it every single round from 7 onwards. And I thought that as well. And it weren't until afterwards that we both spoke that we both realised we thought the same thing. And I knew every time in that fight, I knew Johnny was pacing himself because he'd never been 10 rounds, but I knew every time he threw an hard punch, he hurt Harry. So I knew he only had to step it up to get the job done. And I knew from 7 onwards, Johnny had just push it on now, because in his own mind, he knows he could last 4 rounds. You know, does that make sense to you, George? You know, it's the first time you've been 10 rounds.
Yeah.
You've got to know how to pace yourself.
No, definitely. There's that, even if you know it because you've done it in the gym, just that proof in the pudding of doing it on fight night. But you want to push yourself hard anyway, don't you? So you know that if you ever end up in a hard fight,
exactly,
it's banked. It's
exactly.
reassurance.
So he knew he was in front. He knew he was winning the rounds. But then he always likes to try and get a stoppage. It ain't going to come all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Looked like he was going to come real early that fight as well.
Yeah, but then he knew he'd give Harry respect. He knows Harry's a tough man, and he knew once he went for him the second time in the first round, he knew, right, let's hang off. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, he would have blown himself out in the first round, and then he could have been in trouble in the second round. You know, it's happened. How many times that happened? You leave everything in that first round. So I'm pleased with what he done, because a lot of people answered a lot of questions for other people and for himself. You know, because he was waiting, biding his time, and then when he knew, bang, you know, it was there, and he still had the power in the 7th round to finish it.
Let's talk a bit about you now, John. We got here written down your rise to superstardom, and I don't think that's overstating it.
I don't know. I'm not. Listen, superstardom's people like George, people like Cole Froch, you know, AJ, Fury. I'm just a fat bloke. He's Chinese on social media, and he's got a bit of a following. Very grateful for that following, I hasten to add, because I still find it strange that people, and I get a lot of messages every day, like, I'm brightening up this, I'm doing that, and I'm grateful for that, because there's a lot of people out there struggling. So if you can help anyone in any way, shape or form with whatever you do, that's a good thing. And don't get me wrong, I get a lot of hate as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, on social media, people are brave. I can take anyone saying anything to me face to face. If you say something to me that I'm doing and you don't think it's right, that's fair enough. But when they do it behind a keyboard, no face on their thing, that does wind me up a little bit. And sometimes I've answered back, perhaps I shouldn't, but, you know, I think faceless accounts on social media are the worst. Scourge of society. Talk to me and I can respect that, but when someone's not man enough or woman enough to face you up and do it. I don't like that.
So how do you cope with that? What do you do?
Listen, sometimes like a lot of people, like the one thing that gets me, oh look at that fat CUNT, he's a drain on the NHS. I've paid my national insurance every week for 35 years. Touch wood, I've never been out of work. I've always paid my way. I've helped raise thousands of money for charity. I don't like to talk about it, but this is how it gets me, you know, and I'm thinking, that's the one thing that gets me. And then people say, oh, well, you pay for car insurance, don't mean you want to have a crash. But no, if you pay for car insurance, it means you're covering yourself if you do have a crash. Now, thankfully, I'm quite fit. Even though I'm overweight, I have tests. My organs are fit and healthy. I'm doing something now. I want to try and lose a bit of weight. I've tried it before in the social media gaze, and it doesn't work because people give you so much abuse. And there's a lot of fat haters out there. A lot of people don't like fat people for some reason. I don't know why. And as I said, when I was Johnny's age, I was fit as a fiddle. Used to box. I was a fit man. And it's only the last few years I've probably took my foot off the pedal, let things get to me. But for people to be able to hate you on that, I don't think it's right. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are overweight for reasons out of their control. A lot of people are just lazy, yeah. But a lot of people have got illnesses, a lot of people have got depression, a lot of people have got things, and people are too quick to judge.
Did you anticipate it, that level of hate? Because I think it's weird, isn't it? And it's not just in boxing.
No, because I didn't anticipate the level of love.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I still find it strange, you know, like the messages you get and the love you get. But with that, you put yourself out on social media, you're going to get abuse. And I can handle it, but it's just at certain times it triggers you. You must have it, you know what I mean? You must have it.
He just stops looking, doesn't he?
You just
stop looking. Like,
That's what Johnny says to me. He said, don't answer it, why are you reading it? But I read every single message I receive because I haven't got a manager, I haven't got a PA, I haven't got an agent, it's all me. So I try and read as much as I can. So people think they're being funny, but they're actually talking to me when they're doing it, you know? But I'm a normal bloke, so if we're in a pub and you say something to me, I'll say it back to you.
But you're very conscious of being a nice person. Like, you can tell that's very important to you, to give time to people, especially when that time is precious. Like, you'll want to watch your son do his ring walk. So the pressure's on.
Yeah.
And then you're in the public eye. So people, you know, when people give you grief and you're like, I've only been nice to people, why are you giving me grief?
I think it's because I don't know why I'm in the public eye, probably. I still just think I'm a normal bloke.
Syndrome, yeah?
Do you know what I mean? But when it's a new world we live in now where social media puts you in the front, it's bigger than television. You're better off on social media now, YouTube, Instagram, than being on the telly.
True.
So for me, I'm on them platforms, you open yourself up to it, but because I am a normal bloke, I think I want to go back at people. But sometimes I think, is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. I mean, back in the day, I used to have arguments on Twitter with people, and before any social media presence, and then you get up in the morning and you think, why have I done that? What an idiot.
Can you put your finger on where you think the Big John phenomenon sort of started?
I'll tell you exactly where it started, and I've told this story once or twice before, not many times. I was having a few success. I didn't know I was on TikTok. Right, my middle son Henry, who's the genius with the camera,
he snuck you on.
He was putting me on TikTok. I had people coming up asking for photos. Why do you want a photo of me? I'm on TikTok. Am I? I weren't even on TikTok.
What's TikTok?
Yeah, I weren't even on TikTok myself. Didn't have a clue. But cut long story short, so it had a little bit of a social, you know, rise. And then I had a letter through from business just after lockdown, a financial letter from like the bank, and it wasn't great. You know, you're thinking, oh, for God's sake, what are we going to do here? And my best friend, Steve Potts, played 500 games for West Ham. It was him and his wife's anniversary. They invited all of our family to Bordello's in London for their anniversary. He said, John, come up, I want to treat the family. It's our anniversary. Meals on me. I said, oh, Steve, you ain't got to do that. No, meals on me. By the Bordello's is the Prospect of Whitby pub. My dad used to drink in there. My dad's been gone for over 10 years now, God rest his soul. After the meal, I said, right, let me take you all for a drink in the Prospect of Whitby. I said, my dad used to drink in there, it'd be back old times. Went in the pub, I spent more on drinks than he spent on the meal, right? Got so drunk, I come out, I was doing bullfighting with the cars, with my top off. Went back home, we ordered a massive Chinese, even though we'd eaten a massive meal. And I come in with it, drunk, went, who wants an effing Chinese? And that video went worldwide viral. And from then I started getting appearances, and I believe it's my dad looking down on me because I had financial bad news, didn't let it bother me. We went out with good people, had a good time, come back, and since that video, just bang. So it's just strange how things happen. I could have easily said I'm depressed state. Oh no, thanks Steve, I'm not in the mood, blah, blah, blah. Like no one knew. Yeah. Didn't even tell my wife about the letter. No one knew the letter I'd received. And yeah, so it's just amazing how things turn. And that's what I say to people all the time. I get a lot of messages. People, they've got no money, they're skint, they're this, they're that, they're depressed. I said, listen, we've all been there. And life sometimes just turns. Takes time to turn, but there's that turning point, and you just slowly, you know, now don't get me wrong, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not a rich man, but you're in a little bit better position now than what you was when I had that letter at my door.
Yeah.
You know? So there's always hope.
So that was when it started. At what point, maybe it was the same, but did you realise I'm onto something here? Maybe financially, or like, okay, this is something I should apply myself to now? Not really.
I've never even, like, when I had Big Fred first give me opportunity to go to nightclubs, I thought it was a wind-up. Put the phone down on him, thought it was a wind-up. Even up to the first appearance at Oxford, I thought, I was walking up to the hotel, I thought people are going to come out of the camera going, got you. I thought, at least I've got a night in an Oxford hotel, nice pool, I'll have a swim, I'll look after myself. And then that first appearance, when I went into that nightclub, and there's like 1,000 people going mental, you think, what the bloody hell's going on here? And then I did another one, then it grew. And I remember being in Swansea, of all places, massive following in Wales. Johnny has, I have, unbelievable. I was in there in Swansea, there's 2,000 people in this club, and you're on a stage, and it hit me. I just thought, I must look like a right idiot standing up here, you know what I mean? Everyone singing and cheering your name, and it just hit me, and I just felt all funny. I thought, what the bloody hell are they all looking at me for? You know, but I've never ever got above myself. Never thinking, oh, this is that, because you're still working hand to mouth. You know, my work's better, but it's not as regular as my other work used to be. So you're still waiting for the phone to ring, you're still waiting for things to happen. But thankfully, I'm going to Australia in February. Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, doing a tour over there. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's good. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really
the other side of the world.
Have you, you know, like a stand-up comic will have a routine, and then they'll polish their routine, and then they refine it. Do you have, like, because I can imagine, and exactly what you're saying, you're up there and you're like, these people are so excited for me to be here, and I wasn't even sure on this first appearance whether anyone would be here. Even now,
like I've been like Magaluf, Zante, Ibiza, like Charlie Sloth, Wayne Lineker, O Beach, been like Zante 6-7 times, Magaluf 6-7 times, Las Vegas. Had my name up in lights in a hotel in Las Vegas, which was surreal.
So good.
But yeah, it's just, listen, it is just a bus. People want to come and see you. It's mainly meet and greets. Yeah. But you get on the stage, and if William, my son, comes with me, he goes nuts on the mic. Johnny has sometimes come with me. It's just giving prawn crackers out, chicken balls. Might be a chicken ball eating competition. You say all your Boshes. Who wants a burger? It's just a bit of fun.
Say all your Boshes.
Yeah, just a bit of fun. Because I started off, like, a few people say Bosh, a lot of people say it, but I started off like the worldwide ones. So you've got people from all different countries, and they associate it with their Bosh. And it's just a bit of fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And don't know how long that will last for, but you know, you go into other things. You can do a bit of advertising on your Instagram. You can do other things, so you can earn a living.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's all I ever need to do and want to do: earn a living for my family, provide a roof over our head. So, and have a bit of fun along the way. I mean, I was at Aintree last week. I was at Ascot a few weeks before that. Just crazy times.
Racing Bosh.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Bosh? I think my favourite Bosh was Zhilei Zhang saying Bosh. I watch that all the time. It was brilliant.
He's a great man. We had the Chinese with Zhilei before the week before he fought Joe Joyce. And
the first fight, wasn't it?
First fight, and me and Johnny had the Chinese with him in Chinatown, and at that meal I knew Joe was in trouble, because the man, so dedicated, so you knew how hard he trained, you knew how much it meant to him, and the Chinese was all on the table. He did not eat one thing he shouldn't, and I'm thinking that's dedicated. It didn't even take, you know, and I said to Joe's managers after that, I said, you know, Joe's in for a hard fight here. He means business. So
just wondered if he thought, this ain't the Chinese.
But that's a good point, because we eat different Chinese to probably.
He said it was very much legit. Similar, because in China I've learned it's all the different regions. You got all the different regions, and where we had the Chinese, he said that was pretty much where his region was from.
That's perfect.
Because like our Chinese, I suppose our local Chinese on the high street are made for us, but you go up Chinatown, you have got a little bit more
different
variation, and I've been lucky enough to do a few adverts with Chinese restaurants all around the country, and they are different. And it's becoming, where you've got a lot of Chinese students over in there, they are changing. Some of these, you could go into a Chinese restaurant, me and you, and it'd be totally different than what we're used to. But it's what the Chinese are used to. They are changing.
Thanks, John. That myth's debunked. Then there we go.
I think officially.
So obviously you're famous. Like, what's your favourite bit of Chinese? I'm sure everyone
Waiting
knows.
for the order to come.
Wait for the order.
The anticipation. But listen, I said this is what I think I got like known with people, and people can connect with it. You've worked hard all week. Your little bit of it happens for a lot of people. Is your Saturday night, you can just finally relax. You've ordered your Chinese, bottle of wine, glass of beer, nice Chinese with the family, and I think anyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, and you all feel in a good place. Whether it be Chinese, whether it be Indian, whether it be a Kentucky, a McDonald's, that Saturday night takeaway meal, you've all earned it. We're all going to sit down and eat it together, then watch a bit of telly or watch a film.
So it's quite profound, that, isn't it? It's not just about eating a Chinese, it's about
what
it represents.
What it represents, and it's family time. And in an age where family time is disappearing in front of our eyes, you know, we might not have the Sunday dinner anymore or the tea up the table, but we can come together at a takeaway, you know, of a Friday night or a Saturday night at the end of a hard week.
So what would your response be? Johnny said on this pod, he's not done anything talented, he's just eaten Chinese and said Bosh.
Yeah, he's spot on. I've not got a talent. I've not got a talent.
But it's more profound than that, John, I would argue.
But I was at a funeral in the week with Johnny, a good friend of ours, Maximus Stuart Livermore. Big shout out to him. Done a lot for people. And they said a legend isn't someone that can do something, it's someone that can like relate to people, make people happy. Do you know what I mean? And I think in his life, he was certainly a man that made people happy. If you can make people happy, then you've got a talent. Do you know what I mean? He might not be like a special talent, but too many people want to be off to you. Too many people want to spread hate, especially in the world nowadays. You know, what's going on in the world? You know, everyone's just worried about what they can get for themselves. And yeah, we're all here for ourselves, but let's help people along and bring people up with us as well at the same time.
Big question, do you ever get any other takeaway other than Chinese?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Don't get this fat without just eating Chinese.
But Chinese are number one in the household, is it?
Chinese, always go to Chinese. I like an Indian, but I prefer to sit in an Indian restaurant.
It's very important.
I don't like an Indian takeaway. I'll have it.
I know what you're saying there.
Indian restaurant food is so much better than Indian takeaway. I like fried chicken and ribs. Favourite fried chicken and ribs. Love that. Obviously pie and mash. But again, with pie and mash, you've got to sit in, not take out. You know, we've all had it take out, but it's so much better sitting in. Obviously, you can't beat fish and chips. And all the Turkish kebab places that are frying up now.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see one more, like when you go to Greece, I love the gyros. It's a few about, but not many. You know, I'd like to be able to go and buy just a wrap, like a Greek gyros wrap, just to eat that.
With the chips in? That one?
Yeah, they have them with chips in. I prefer them without the chips. I just like the chicken or the lamb or the
straight up,
or the pork. You know what I mean, with a bit of salad. I love a wrap, but there's not many of them about around where we are. What's
the takeaway choice in the Groves household? Because it's obviously Iranian influence, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Iranian influence. Do you ever have an Iranian, John?
Do you know, I had, not Iranian, I had Lebanese once at the top of Harrods. It's the only place we could get in.
Right.
You know, when you're in Harrods and it's packed. And I went up to the top and it was delicious.
I've been there, it's nice.
It was absolutely delicious. So where's the Iranian influence?
So it's Persian. If you ever had Persian food, Iranian food, I'd be surprised. Once it's on your radar, they're everywhere. You go down every high street, there'll be half a dozen of them. But until then, it's right. It's very similar.
So is that like a charcoal meats, right?
Yeah. So they'll do a stew, but then they'll do like a kebab as well. You know, like chicken. It's always chicken or lamb.
Yeah. Pomegranate everywhere.
Pomegranate.
Yeah.
Salad shirazi, which is literally tomato, cucumber, red onion, but they make it a bit of mint, a bit of something else.
Well, so it's Christmas time, John, and you've got a big family and you love family time and you all love your food. We got to get into what Christmas Day looks like in the Fisher household. You got a professional athlete living in there. Oh, he's not living there, but he'll be round on Christmas Day.
He'll be round Christmas Day.
I bet, are you a Christmas man?
I love Christmas. It's a favourite time of the year. Christmas Eve's my favourite day. We have we're old EastEnders. We have cooked ham chips, pickles, bagels, smoked salmon. Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day. Obviously, you have a big fry up. Christmas dinner: turkey, chicken, beef, as much as you can eat, basically. And then after your dinner, your desserts, then a cheese board, and then you go again in the night time.
Sandwiches? Do you have leftover cold sandwiches?
Yeah, definitely. We have them for a couple of days, to be honest. But I love it. I love Christmas. I love eating. That's why I'm cutting back on the drink. I'm cutting back on the food now and make a bit of space for Christmas. Because I think I can remember last Christmas, you just totally stuffed, and it's no fun when you're totally stuffed. You've got to have a bit of space. But Christmas Day is all about sitting there that night. You know, I mean, we get invited out around family Christmas night, but I prefer just to stay in, if I'm being truthful. Just put the telly on just sit
Always
there
too
and-
stuffed, didn't you? I don't want to do
Yeah, I
anything.
don't want to
No, I
get
don't
dressed
want to
up.
go out and speak to anyone.
No,
I want to
know, do
doze
you?
on the sofa.
You don't. You just like we just have our family. My mum comes round because when my dad was alive, like I've got 3 sisters. We all used to go around my mum and dad's, like 20 or 25 of us. But obviously since he's died and like people have got grandkids and all that now, we do our own thing, which I like. I just like being on our own, if I'm being truthful.
Here's an important one for both of you. A little straw poll. What time are we eating Christmas dinner? Because I maintain...
Good question, that.
Anyone who eats it before 1 p.m. is mental.
Yeah.
That is mental.
As is about 3:30.
Yeah, I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
What are you saying in the Groves household?
I would say I'll tell people too, but it's ready when it's ready.
Yeah, and
So
by
it
then
might
it's
be
about
after.
3:30ish.
My nan used to do a Sunday dinner because she was so stressed about getting out of the way. She'd have it like 11 in
Yeah,
the morning.
that's what I mean.
But a lot of
People
people-
putting the turkey on at 5 a.m. or something.
But I can remember growing up, like Sunday dinner, we used to have Sunday dinner every week, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock without fail. Obviously, unless we played football, you had an afternoon kick-off.
Yeah.
And that put the spanner in the works, you know? And it's strange, everyone used to have Sunday dinners.
Yeah.
Right, we still have them, but you don't have them, they're not as popular as they used to be, are they? Because everything's open now, and it's Sunday's a busy day, people are out and about.
What does Johnny Fisher's Christmas look like? Because he's obviously a professional athlete. He's going to be boxing this time. Is it the first time he would have been training over Christmas?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he's
yeah.
a heavyweight though, isn't he? So it's not as he's not on the.
We was talking to George about this the other day. Food's not as obviously he can't eat a lot of rubbish, but he has to eat. He says 80% good, 20% rubbish because he has to maintain his weight with the amount he trains. But when he's in camp, he's pretty good. So he'll eat well at Christmas, but he never drinks alcohol, and he'll be careful of what sweet stuff he's eating. That's all he'll do. But the meats, potatoes, veg, he'll overload.
Happy
definitely.
days, yeah. And you boxed at D. Louisa was it January, wasn't it?
January, yeah. That was probably a tough
Christmas cancelled.
Yeah,
Tough
maybe.
for you because you got to keep the weight.
I always
on.
had to cut for a fight, but yeah, I mean, lean Christmas dinner. I love a Christmas dinner, but you could get away with a lean Christmas dinner and
it's
it still
quite
be
easy.
quite nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the sweets and the chocolate and
It's
the
that-
pudding
it's
that
that.
comes after
Yeah.
that you have to
Yeah.
stay away from, and maybe the Yorkshire pudding. So,
But you could have nice sliced turkey, nice sliced beef,
Yeah.
some vegetables, bit of mash. It's a nice dinner.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Right, John. So when we do these episodes, our Seeing Stars episodes, we usually like to formulate a fight.
We
don't
like to try and make a fight. Yeah.
We like to try and make a fight. So we'll have to ask you the questions, mate. Right, first of all, you've boxed before, so you already know a bit about it, but you ain't turned pro yet. This is your big breakout fight. Who's your opponent?
What, still as an amateur?
Well, it could
You
be
could choose
anyone.
anyone.
I mean, we've already established you're not a YouTuber
Well, I
or an
think-
influencer,
I
but
think
you
in a
might want to
minute,
fight one of them.
If I'm an heavyweight, I'm a young heavyweight coming up, I'd fight Ngannou. Reason being, publicity gets you out there, you become an instant thing, and in my opinion, if you can box, you can beat him. You know, I know he done really well against Tyson Fury, but I'd rather fight him. I thought he just had an exceptional night and Fury had a really bad night. So that'd be me, Ngannou.
Can we call that an official call out? Are you calling out Ngannou?
I'll call him
You
out.
heard it here,
I'll call him out,
Francis.
but only for a chicken ball eating contest because I've got top respect for Ngannou.
Yeah.
Really
He
has.
was unbelievable in that fight,
No,
wasn't he?
Johnny's met him a few times, and Joe Joyce, we've seen spar him a few times, and you know, for him to do what he did and last you know, but that's who I'd fight just to get me out there. Failing that, someone like
Is there someone you don't really like?
what's his name, Matt Hancock. I'd fight him. I'd fight Matt Hancock. I would never disrespect boxing by having a fight.
Yeah.
Would never disrespect it at all. But I would disrespect it and fight him. Can't stand the bloke.
He's the man.
Yeah, and we've been asked to have him on our sort of podcast, but I said I don't think I can control myself if
Yeah.
he's in our house.
Yeah, that could be quite
Yeah,
dangerous.
I wouldn't be able to be nice to him.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't.
I mean, I'd back you against him. Not sure about Ngannou, but
No,
Who would you-
I wouldn't back myself against Ngannou, but I'm just trying to get my name out.
Yeah,
there.
who are you bringing in for sparring then? So I mean, you got good access to sparring, didn't you? You got your son is the
I
champ.
wouldn't spar Johnny because he'd take it too serious, and I think he'd want to hurt me. Sparring, I think good sparring partner who I've seen, Fabio Wardley, he's terrific. Joe Joyce because he keeps going, and someone a bit easy.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's pretty tough sparring. Someone
leave it in the gym.
Someone a bit easier. Gemma Collins from Tower. She'd be my final sparring partner.
Yeah, that could be good.
I think I could handle
good.
Gemma Collins.
It'd be irritating though.
Yeah.
That'd be mental strength building. That would.
Do your head in before you get in the ring.
It might be Gemma Collins again, but who have you got in mind as a trainer? Who's going to train you up for this fight?
Have to be Mark Tibbs.
Mark
no
Tibbs,
one better than Mark. So
Mark's got the job.
Have a bit of fun along the way as well.
Yeah, he'd formulate a good plan, though, wouldn't he? I reckon he's got a game plan. Game plan for both of them.
Matt
Hancock. Yeah.
Matt Hancock. Yeah, I don't want to fight in Canada. Matt Hancock.
That's definitely a call out.
I was answering that as if I was an up and coming.
No, we're talking right now.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
But me personally, knowing Ganu, Matt Hancock.
Who's the ref?
Who's the ref?
What about that Patrick Vallance? You know, the chief medical bloke.
He'd be helping him though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
would.
they'd all be in it together.
He'd be good on cuts.
I'll let Johnny be the ref because he don't like Hancock either.
Yeah, all right then. Yeah, that sounds good.
Johnny be the ref.
I'll let Johnny be the ref.
Yeah,
that'd be a good fight.
I mean, it would be a good fight. Yeah. I mean, I know good is probably the wrong word for it. I mean, it might be a bit one-sided.
Do you know what? It might be what I need because I'd get fit for that. I know I'd have to get fit for that. Although I'm a bit heavier than him.
Most things that are said on this show
they happen. It's the Dream Factory.
Yeah, well there you go.
This could be it.
We can get this on.
Yeah.
Where would it happen?
Yeah.
What's the
Your
dream
call.
venue?
Your call.
Yeah, of course. It has to be
Your call.
your call.
Proper spitting sawdust. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Proper fans. Proper boxing fans. No prawn sandwich brigade. Proper boxing fans. Working men. Working women. Get in there.
Prawn Toast Brigade.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to know what the kit looks like because Johnny Fisher Jr. He wears sort of black, doesn't he, all the time?
Always black with a different colour.
Yeah.
Colour trim.
So quite understated.
Yeah,
but he's got the merch going on. What would your look be?
Do you know what?
Are you a robe man or are you gilet with a hood?
I think a full body suit because no one wants to see my body. I think robe, nice robe.
Yeah.
But not flashy.
No.
Not flashy. I think I'll just go one colour. Nice and... But as I say, I used to box for the Lion. They was yellow and blue.
Blue
nice
and
colours.
yellow,
Nice colours. And my old district, Havering, where we live, football, captain them. We won London Cup, yellow and blue. I used to manage the Havering district side as well, yellow and blue. Yellow and blue. That's my colours.
Perfect.
Blue and yellow. Blue and yellow, I should say. Mainly blue, but a bit of yellow.
And then you could have a picture of some cheese, couldn't you? Because I'm thinking you should be called like the cheese maker or something. Or the
cheese maker, yeah.
Cheese man.
The cheese man. The cheese maker's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You turn them into Swiss cheese.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm being truthful now. I've not got a fight in me. Don't
tell Matt Hancock that.
Been offered things like, oh, would you do this? Would you do that? No, because George knows how hard it is to train and even get ready for like these misfit fights and all that. But you can tell on the misfits, some of them ain't even sparred, some ain't even hit the pads, and it's shocking. I used to give it the benefit of the doubt. I used to think, well, if they're training, like KSI, you can see he trains, Jake Paul, you can see he trains, Tommy Fury obviously trains. If you can see him training and dedicating, fair enough, but a lot of them there, they're not even. I mean, Simple Simon thought Dapper laughs. I know Dapper, I know Simple Simon. Told him many times, how is that man in a boxing ring? It's...
Which one, Simple Simon?
Simple Simon, yeah.
What does Simple Simon do?
He's just, I think he's a football coach. I've known him like a few years. Not a friend, but just know him. But they keep churning out the same thing, keep getting in the ring, keep getting knocked out in the first round. When's that going to stop? I just think he's gone too far now. They're going too far with it.
Well, you got an insight into real boxing, pro boxing. You box as an amateur, but your son is a professional boxer doing real boxing. So you can see it. You know exactly how hard it can be, even just to do a little whack on the show.
People could only dream of getting in that ring and fighting. And when you've got these people, these jokers, getting in there, making out their boxers and carrying belts about with them. And as I say, I weren't against it. I was quite a fan of, not a fan of it, but said, well, if they're doing it, they're doing it. But now it's just taking it a bit too far.
I think a lot of people agree with that. One question about your sort of persona. Like when a band, they sometimes don't like singing their most popular song. In the end, they're sick of it.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sick of people running up to you shouting Bosh and being like, give us a photo?
No, never.
It still makes you feel alive.
Never. It's not that it makes you feel alive. Never. As I said before, never get the ump with someone wanting to come up and getting something off you that gives them a bit of, not talking flashy. Johnny will tell you, and this is quite a funny thing. Johnny's been in many of these meet and greets, and like young men, young girls. When I say young, they're like 18 to 21. They'll come and have a photo with you, and they'll walk away, and they're like, I can't believe it. and it's still, I said, it's so surprising. It's like they've met a film star or a footballer, and they're meeting me. So if you can give someone a little bit of joy, it won't last forever. In a year or two, people won't be bothering asking me for a photo or a Bosh. But while it's there, if anyone wants it, they're more than welcome to have a photo or a Bosh.
How often are you getting stopped?
Again, without sounding flash, every 2 minutes. It's just like, you know, you go anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and you get, especially if it's your demographic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At a boxing show.
A boxing show, yeah, non-stop, obviously.
But a nightclub as well.
Nightclub, but like even like a shopping centre, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
But it's good. But a lot of people, they look at you, they don't know it's you. They look at you, they're looking like that. And then they'll be down. A funny story was in Las Vegas, me and my wife, in April. Guests at a Plaza Hotel, what a place that is. Took us there, we tried all their food. We're walking down Fremont Street, and I can hear Big John, Bosh. And I'm looking around, Big John, Bosh, and it got weaker and weaker. Couldn't see anyone. Walked right down to the bottom of Fremont Street. About half hour later, this man comes running up, 2 of them. Big John, that was us, we was on the zip wire, we went right over you. Yeah. You couldn't see it. It's just crazy, you know what I mean?
Where can people see you right now? What are you up to? I know you're filming for your second season of
we've got
your podcast.
The Big John Chinese sit down, it's on YouTube, Bosh TV, Bosh.tv I think it is. George, you're going to be a guest.
Love
We're going to get you on, have a Chinese round our house, just nice and chilled. We've had a few good guests on, we've got a lot of good guests coming up for series 2. And just like, I'm on Instagram, Big John 1, it's Big John 1. And Twitter, I don't like Twitter that much, but I'm on there just as Big John. So, and I'm sure you'll see me eating a Chinese somewhere. That's a good part of life.
That's great, mate.
I fancy Chinese now.
Do you know what? We should have talking about the roast dinner. I fancy the roast dinner.
Yeah.
When you talk about a roast dinner, see, Chinese, I love Chinese, but a good roast dinner, you can't beat a good roast dinner, can you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's true. It takes 4 hours to make that, doesn't it?
Yeah. When you cook a roast at home, it is a lot of headache in it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of preparation.
You can eat at 11 a.m. especially. We were saying we should have done, we should have brought in a selection of chicken balls and you could have ranked them.
That was what I was going to say. I forgot to say. Now you're going to all these different restaurants. You're getting invited there. What is it chicken balls that's the marker of the restaurant for you?
That's a great question.
Because what's your
you go to an Italian restaurant, the marker, you see what the bolognese is saying, and if it's good, you know the restaurant's good.
See, like, I'll be truthful with you. We was at, my wife treated me, my last birthday treat was at the Ligon Hotel in the Cotswolds, and they've got a James Martin restaurant there, and the steak was good, but I prefer independent, family-run restaurants. Do you know what I mean? And like, I know people go to named restaurants, name this, but for me, a Chinese restaurant, I've been all over. The Blue Orchid, I promote the Blue Orchid. I don't get paid to promote the Blue Orchid. I promote it because I pride myself on telling people about good food.
Yeah.
And the Blue Orchid Chinese restaurant is as good as anywhere. There's probably ones out there that are as good as it, but I've eaten in loads, and that is unbelievable. And it's the same family, it's been the same family for 50 years. You know, the dad's there now, his sons are working there. Me and my wife used to go in there before we had children, when we were going out with each other. That's how long we've been going in there. And you go in there, and the mark of there, they've got a spicy pork. Delicious. Anyone that has it, do you know what I mean? You can't. I've never seen it in any other Chinese restaurant. It's their like signature. Beautiful.
Spicy pork.
Yeah, spicy pork. It comes up with the hors d'oeuvres, or you can have it as a main. But they've got a set meal, B2. It covers it every base. The only problem with Blue Orchid, and they know this, but they can't because they haven't got time, they don't deliver. So if it's pouring down the rain on a Friday night...
I like that. It's quite old school, though, isn't it? It's retro.
They don't deliver.
You've got to drive there.
They'll put it in a cab for you, but I don't want to go through the hassle of that. And like, you've opened your bottle of wine, fire's on. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be getting in the car.
No.
So people that deliver it, but the delivery companies, they're not as good. Like takeaways that deliver, they're not up to Blue Orchid standard. But we have got some good takeaways near us. And we try and support local as best you can. You try and give anyone a little bit of that deserves it. Because I've been in restaurants, they don't deserve, you know what I mean? If people are moody to you. For me, going in a restaurant ain't just about the food. You've got to come out there and have had a good time. It's the partnership. You know, you can have the best food, but if there's no atmosphere, I don't want to go back. Got to have atmosphere.
Sounds like this pod, doesn't it?
Yeah. When is the atmosphere actually going to start?
Yeah,
when's the food come?
Yeah, when's the food come? I'm starving.
Do you know what? I'm going to go to that Turkish now, and got about a 3.5 hour drive to my hotel in Bristol. So Premier Inn, living the dream tonight. So
Living the dream. That's what it's all about.
Mine head tomorrow, Butlins. That's going to be.
So
fun.
you're going to give it. So you're going to go there and you meet and greet, and you give out prawn crackers, chicken
Sometimes
balls.
it all depends on.
Do they sort that out?
Yeah, they sort that out. It all depends on the club. Like, I'll go to my hotel, get there, have a couple of hours, I'll have a bath, have a sleep for an hour, then you get to the club about 1 o'clock in the morning, stay there till about 2:30, drive back to the hotel, and then up in the morning straight to Butlins. But yeah, at the club, meet and greet if they've got prawn crackers, chicken balls. Some places you give out burgers. Who wants a fucking burger?
Oh yeah.
I had about 200 hamburgers, throwing them to the crowd, and they love it. They're all stone cold, and they're all loving it. Do you know what I mean? So, as I say, just a bit of fun, just a bit of light-hearted fun.
Yeah, you got. It's weird what you're saying about living in the moment. You'll look back on that this time and be like, what was all that about?
Listen, I've got a few bookings obviously booked up to the end of the year, but the last booking you got in your diary, that could be the last time you do it. Do you know what I mean? So I never moan about it. Like, don't get me wrong, like sometimes if they're like only 2 hours away, on a Saturday night, Friday night, I'll have had Chinese, and then I know I've got to drive. And a lot of times I drive there, do it and just drive back. If it's within 2 hours, I'll drive back after doing it. Because after you do an appearance, you go back to your hotel, you're awake. Can't get asleep.
Yeah, you're white.
You know what I mean? Not because you've done anything special. You're just awake. Before you go, you're like that. When you come back, you're like wide awake. But it's great. I've met so many good young people. I remember once I went to Bristol, met like an American football team there, all from Tottenham. Most of them all from Tottenham, big boys. And there was one chap come up to me, reminded me of a young Mike Tyson, huge. And he said, I really want to box, but I'll play for the American football team. And if I go to the boxing club, they're going to really have a go at me. And I said, listen, if they're your mates, they'll respect what you want to do. And I said, if you've got that passion for it, go to the boxing club, see if you like it. Don't worry about anyone else. But you do get the chance to talk to individuals, youngsters. And there's a lot of good young people out there. They get a lot of bad press, but I've met so many good, when I say young, they're like 18 to 21. There's so many good young people out there that they don't get given the credit they deserve sometimes.
Agreed.
Lovely, John.
Bosh.
There's one thing on too long. Sorry, I've waffled on too long.
That's Merry Christmas, boys.
Merry Christmas, yeah.
Have a lovely. I'm going to get spicy pork.
Dinner.
No, I'm going spicy pork this year.
Do you know what?
Spicy pork out and crispy duck.
My good friend.
Do you get crispy duck?
Yeah. That's part of the B2.
Yeah, of course it is.
Part of B2.
Yeah, what's it? Mixed hors d'oeuvres.
I should have checked.
Right, mixed hors d'oeuvres, sesame prawns on toast, pancake rolls, chicken satay, spicy pork, crispy seaweed. That's the first dish.
That's the hors d'oeuvres.
That's the hors d'oeuvres, right? Then you get crispy aromatic duck. Best ice cream. They've got a local company that makes it themselves. They've got the fields, they've got everything with golden syrup and then a coffee. And when you come out,
how much?
I think it's about £22 a person.
Come on, I'm doing that Christmas dinner.
Yeah,
and keep your turkey, and I'm eating it at 4
p.m. A lot of my good friends go in the Blue Orchid for Christmas Eve, and I've never done it because I'm always tradition. Do you know what I mean? I'll have a Chinese after Christmas. Christmas is about meats and
Christmas
fair.
Stuff.
Christmas fair. Leave off the Chinese till like New Year.
Yeah, new year, new me.
Perfect, John.
Right,
Thanks
cheers,
so
John.
much.
Lovely. Thanks for having me on. Been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.